The Qin Dynasty is one of those stories that sounds impossible the first time you hear it. It unified China for the first time in history. It ended centuries of warfare. It created systems that shaped Chinese civilization for more than 2,000 years. And then, almost immediately, it collapsed. From unification to total collapse, the Qin Dynasty lasted just 15 years. Not a long decline, not a slow decay, but a sudden political implosion. That speed is what makes this story uncomfortable. Because when a weak state collapses, it feels logical. But Qin was not weak. Qin was frighteningly strong. Strong enough to defeat rival kingdoms that had fought for centuries. Strong enough to redesign the rules of power across an entire continent. So the real question isn't simply why did Qin fall? The real question is how something so powerful fell so fast. To answer that, we need to stop treating Qin as a simple moral lesson. This is not just a story about cruelty or harsh laws or a bad successor. The deeper problem was structural. Here is the core idea of this episode. Qin tried to rule society the same way it conquered enemies. It governed peace as if it were still fighting a war. And those two things are not the same. War demands discipline. Peace demands trust. Qin mastered discipline, but it never learned how to build trust. To understand why, we have to go back before the empire, to the Warring States period. This was an age defined by fear. Every state lived with the same reality. Hesitate, and you disappear. Only the most efficient systems survived. Under that pressure, Qin became extremely good at one thing: winning wars. Results mattered more than motives. Obedience mattered more than belief. Failure was punished instantly and brutally. Success was rewarded, but only in cold, measurable terms. On the battlefield, this system was devastating. By the time Qin Shi Huang completed unification, Qin had perfected conquest logic, fast decisions, absolute control, immediate enforcement. But conquest logic has a hidden weakness. It is designed to break enemies. It is not designed to bind people together. And after unification, Qin never truly switched modes. Instead of thinking, we won, now we must heal, Qin acted like, we won, now we must enforce. It treated newly unified society like occupied territory, a place that required constant pressure and supervision. This leads to the first structural weakness behind Qin's rapid collapse. Qin built an empire with incredible speed, but almost no resilience. Power was centralized to an extreme degree. Local nobility was dismantled. Hereditary authority was abolished. Officials answered directly to the center. This made the empire terrifyingly efficient. Orders moved quickly. Resources were mobilized instantly. Resistance could be crushed before it spread. But when everything flows from the center becomes fragile. A centralized system is like a blade, sharp, fast, deadly, but it cannot bend, cannot adapt. As long as the emperor was strong, the system held. But the moment leadership weakened, there were no buffers, no local power with independent legitimacy, no institutions that could absorb shock. Qin was fast, but brittle. Now we move from structure to psychology, because Qin didn't just centralize power, it centralized fear. Qin governance was built on legalist philosophy. The assumption was simple: people are self-interested, so order must be forced. Strict laws, harsh punishment, clear rewards, zero tolerance. This approach can create obedience. But obedience is not loyalty. People comply to avoid pain. They do not defend the system when it is threatened. A government built on fear must always look invincible, because the moment fear looks negotiable, rebellion becomes rational. And fear is expensive. It requires constant enforcement, constant surveillance, constant punishment. The state must spend enormous energy just to keep society quiet. Now add another famous Qin achievement: standardization. Qin standardized writing, currency, measurements, roads, and administration. From a modern perspective, this looks visionary. But standardization also has a human cost. It sends a clear message: your local identity does not matter. Traditions are overridden. Customs are dismissed. Difference becomes political risk. Unity is imposed, not negotiated. And when unity is imposed without consent, it feels less like nation building and more like occupation. People do not sacrifice for a system that feels foreign. They endure it. And when the opportunity appears, they abandon it. For ordinary people, unification did not feel like peace. It felt like permanent mobilization. The empire demanded labor on an enormous scale. Walls, roads, palaces, imperial tombs. Millions of peasants were conscripted. Farms were abandoned. Families were separated for years. The economy was slowly drained. Qin extracted labor faster than society could recover. An empire can survive heavy taxes. It can survive unpopular policies, but it cannot survive sustained exhaustion. When rebellions began, they spread quickly, not because people suddenly became brave, but because obedience had become unbearable. Now we reach the final layer, the elite layer. Qin eliminated aristocrats instead of integrating them. Scholars were silenced rather than persuaded. When crisis arrived, elites did not defend the dynasty. They waited or quietly switched sides. A state can survive popular anger. It cannot survive elite abandonment. Then came the succession crisis. The system could not tolerate uncertainty. Fear stopped working. Qin had built the perfect machine for conquest and then tried to live inside that machine. It won the war for China, but it lost the peace. And that is why it collapsed so fast.